August 19, 1981. 6:52 a.m. local time. 26,000 feet above the shimmering blue of the Gulf of Sidra. The Mediterranean is glass below. Flat, endless, indifferent. Heat already rises in silver distortions from the Libyan coastline, barely visible through a thin haze. Up here, the sky is hard and empty, until it isn't. Two gray shapes carve contrails across the morning light sleek, twin-tailed predators from the deck of the United States Navy aircraft carrier USS Nimitz. They are F-14 Tomcats. Call sign: Fast Eagle 102 and Fast Eagle 107. In the front cockpit of 102, Lieutenant Henry Hank Kleeman rests one gloved hand on the stick. Behind him, Radar Intercept Officer Lieutenant David D.J. Venlit scans the radar scope, green arcs sweeping like a heartbeat. They are flying a combat air patrol just south of what Libya calls the Line of Death. To Washington, it's international water. To Tripoli, it's sovereign airspace. And to Muammar Gaddafi, it's personal. Contact. 2. Bearing 180. Range 72 miles. Venlit's voice is calm, clinical. Kleeman adjusts his heading slightly, watching the horizon through the canopy. Nothing yet, just sky. In the second Tomcat, Fast Eagle 107, Commander Lawrence Music Muzinski and Rio Lieutenant James Anderson mirror the maneuver. The radar returns sharpen. Fast movers. Low. Climbing. Venlit zooms in. Profile matches fitter. That means one thing: Libyan Air Force. Specifically, Sukhoi Su-22s. Ground attack jets. Variable geometry wings. Soviet-built. Supersonic in a dive. Armed with short-range heat-seeking missiles. The distance closes fast. 60 miles. 55. Fast Eagle. Red Crown confirms hostile launch platform potential. Crackles the E-2 Hawkeye controller overhead. The Libyans are coming straight at them. Kleeman's jaw tightens, but his breathing remains slow. Rules of engagement are clear. They may not fire unless fired upon. He scans again. Sun glare to the south. Then he sees them. On his wing glove pylon sits the weapon, AIM-9 Sidewinder. Heat-seeking. Short range. Deadly. The tone in his headset changes. High-pitched growl locking onto the Libyan engine exhaust. Fox 2. The missile leaps from the rail in a streak of white fire. It curves instantly toward the heat signature of the fleeing Su-22. For a fraction of a second, the Libyan pilot tries to brake right, too late. The Sidewinder slams into the rear fuselage. A fireball blossoms midair. Shrapnel scatters in a spinning arc as the Su-22 disintegrates. Kleeman flies straight through the expanding cloud of debris. One splash. Venlit says, steady again. Good hit. But the fight isn't over. Off to the right, Muzinski's Tomcat is locked in a violent turning engagement with the second Libyan jet. The surviving Su-22 dives low, trying to drag the Americans toward Libyan territory. Music stays glued to him. Altitude drops 18,000 feet. 15,000. The Mediterranean rushes upward in brilliant blue. Tone, Anderson calls from the back seat. The Libyan jet jinks hard left, wings sweeping back for speed. Music anticipates the move. He tightens the turn. The Tomcat shudders at high angle of attack, but holds. Fox 2. Another Sidewinder erupts forward. The missile tracks instantly. The Libyan pilot tries to roll inverted. The explosion comes before he can complete it. A second fireball blooms against the blue horizon. Flaming wreckage spirals downward toward the sea. Silence returns as quickly as it vanished. 2 American F-14s level off. 2 Libyan Su-22s are gone. Time elapsed since first missile launch. Less than 60 seconds. Venlit exhales slowly. Both bandits down. Kleeman scans the sky, heart still hammering. No further contacts. Just smoke trails fading into nothing. Far below, fragments of burning metal strike the water. The line of death remains where it was. But something has changed. Because now everyone knows. The Americans will shoot back. The smoke columns thin in the distance, unraveling into faint gray threads over open water. Fast Eagle 102 and 107 climb back toward 20,000 feet, engines steady, wings extended. The sky feels larger now, but not calmer. Red Crown, Fast Eagle. 2 bandits splashed. Negative, further contacts. The reply comes almost instantly from the E-2 Hawkeye orbiting high above. Fast Eagle, Red Crown copies 2 confirmed. Maintain CAP. Maintain CAP. As if nothing extraordinary has just happened. Inside 102, Venlet rewinds the engagement in his head, clinical and precise. Range at missile launch. Aspect angle. Closure rate. The Libyan atoll had come off hot but sloppy, too much head-on energy, not enough tracking time. The Americans had been lucky. Or prepared. Kleeman glances south again. The Libyan coast is still there, unmoving, silent. Somewhere beyond that hazy line are radar stations, command posts, and officers scrambling for explanations. 2 aircraft gone in under a minute. On the flight deck of USS Nimitz, word spreads before the jets even return. Sailors pause mid-task. Yellow shirt directors look up from the catapults. In Combat Information Center below decks, radar operators replay the scope recordings, 2 blips erased in rapid succession. Libyans fired first, someone says. That matters, because this patrol isn't random. It's part of a larger operation ordered by the United States Navy to challenge what Muammar Gaddafi calls his territorial claim over the Gulf of Sidra. He has drawn an imaginary line across international waters and dared the West to cross it. Today they crossed, and when challenged, they did not turn. Back in the air, Fast Eagle 107 descends slightly, scanning for parachutes. Negative shoots, Anderson reports from the rear cockpit. There is no movement on the water. No rescue helicopters lifting from the Libyan coast. No surface ships racing outward. The engagement had been too fast. The second Su-22 had barely begun its defensive role before the Sidewinder found its heat plume. Music's voice cuts over the radio, calm but edged with adrenaline. Hank, they committed. That wasn't a warning pass. Negative, Kleeman replies. That was a kill shot. They both know it. The Libyan missile launch wasn't symbolic. The atoll, Soviet-built, rear aspect seeker, had been fired within parameters. If the geometry had been slightly different, if Kleeman had hesitated half a second longer, the Mediterranean might now hold American wreckage instead. At 10,000 feet, far to the south, Libyan radar operators stare at their scopes in disbelief. 2 returns vanish almost simultaneously. Ground controllers call repeatedly. No response. Inside an air defense command bunker near Tripoli, senior officers demand confirmation. Were the Americans struck? Did the F-14s retreat? Reports conflict. Confusion spreads. Then the truth settles in. Both Libyan aircraft are gone. Up north, aboard Nimitz, recovery operations begin. The carrier turns into the wind. The deck vibrates with controlled urgency. Arresting cables are checked, crash crews positioned. Fast Eagle 102 approaches first. Kleeman lowers the landing gear. The Tomcat's wings sweep forward automatically as speed drops. The meatball glows amber on the Fresnel lens. 102. You're a little high power. The hook catches. A violent jolt snaps through the airframe as the cable arrests 60,000 pounds of jet in less than 2 seconds. Engines throttle down. Silence, except for deck noise and wind. As the canopy lifts, hot Mediterranean air floods the cockpit. Kleeman removes his helmet slowly. No cheering. No dramatic celebration. Just a few firm nods from deck crew who understand exactly what happened. Minutes later, 107 traps cleanly as well. 2 jets launched. 2 jets returned. 2 enemy aircraft destroyed. Inside the ready room, intelligence officers gather immediately. Radar tapes are reviewed frame by frame. Missile parameters analyzed. The first Libyan launch had occurred inside visual range, clear violation of standard intercept procedure. The Americans had not maneuvered aggressively before the shot. The timeline is airtight. When the report is transmitted up the chain of command, it is blunt. Libyan aircraft fired first. U.S. fighters responded in self-defense. 2 hostile aircraft destroyed. In Washington, the information reaches the White House before the pilots have even removed their flight suits. The Cold War has many flashpoints. Berlin, Korea, Cuba. But today it is the Gulf of Sidra. And the message is unmistakable. Hours later, Kleeman stands on the carrier's edge, looking out over the same water where the wreckage sank. The sea shows no scars. It never does. Venlet joins him quietly. 60 seconds, Venlet says. Kleeman nods. Felt longer. They both replay the white streak of the incoming missile, the split second where training replaces instinct. The F-14's radar, the Sidewinder seeker, the discipline drilled into them at Top Gun and fleet training squadrons. Every element converged perfectly. But beneath the professionalism, there is an unspoken understanding. This could escalate, because somewhere in Libya, commanders are explaining the loss of 2 aircraft. And somewhere else, someone may decide to answer. The Mediterranean remains calm, but the air above it now carries a warning. The next intercept might not end in 60 seconds. August 19, 1981, 11:40 a.m. Eastern Time. The White House Situation Room. The Mediterranean sunlight has long since shifted west, but inside this underground chamber, the lighting never changes. A secure line clicks. Mr. President, we have confirmation. Libyan aircraft fired first. Both were shot down. President Ronald Reagan listens without interruption. His fingers are folded neatly on the polished table. No visible reaction, just a slight narrowing of the eyes. Any American losses? Negative, sir. Both aircraft recovered safely aboard USS Nimitz. A pause. Then, good. Back over the Gulf of Sidra, the combat air patrol continues. The sky is unchanged. Blue. Endless. But now every radar sweep carries tension. Aboard Nimitz, additional F-14 Tomcats are brought to alert status. Ordnance crews check and double-check missile rails. Fuel trucks stand ready. Nobody says it out loud, but everyone understands. Libya could launch more. In Tripoli, state radio broadcasts a different story. American aggression, imperialist provocation, heroic resistance. There is no mention of who fired first. Inside Libyan Air Force headquarters, the reality is far less theatrical. Officers review scrambled radar recordings. The engagement geometry is undeniable. The American jets had not turned away. They had not flinched. And when challenged with live ordnance, they had killed efficiently. By late afternoon, U.S. reconnaissance confirms no further Libyan aircraft airborne. No coastal missile batteries activated. No naval movement toward the disputed line. The silence is strategic. The message has been received. In the ready room aboard Nimitz, Kleeman and Musinski sit through formal debrief. Every detail is dissected. Range at first visual? Approximately 8 miles. Time from atoll launch to impact? Less than 5 seconds. Sidewinder lock tone duration? Continuous until detonation. The analysts nod. The engagement had been textbook. But one moment lingers in everyone's mind. The instant before Kleeman broke left. That fraction of hesitation where the missile plume was just a white spark against blue sky. Had the Libyan pilot delayed his shot by even 2 seconds? Had he allowed the F-14s to pass and then fired from rear aspect? The outcome might have been reversed. That evening, President Reagan addresses reporters briefly. His tone is firm. The United States has the right to operate in international waters. Our pilots acted in self-defense. There is no escalation in his words. But there is no apology either. The line of death is not recognized. Not today. Night falls over the Mediterranean. Deck lights illuminate Nimitz in a floating grid of white and amber. The carrier cuts steadily through dark water, escorted by cruisers and destroyers. Below deck, in the pilot's quarters, Kleeman lies awake longer than he expects. The engagement replays, the missile flash, the G-forces, the bloom of fire. He does not feel triumph. He feels clarity. The rules had been followed. The shot had been justified. But the thin line between patrol and war has never felt thinner. Hundreds of miles away, Libyan leadership convenes behind closed doors. Anger fills the room. So does calculation. 2 aircraft lost. 2 pilots dead. But escalation risks something larger, something they may not control. The Soviet Union watches quietly. So does NATO. The Cold War is a balance of pressure and restraint. Today, pressure was applied. And restraint, for now, holds. August 20th, dawn. The Gulf of Sidra is calm again. Another combat air patrol launches from Nimitz. Another pair of F-14s climbs to 25,000 feet. The line of death still exists on Libyan maps. But in the air above it, the precedent is now clear. If you fire first, you may not get a second chance. The Mediterranean swallows secrets easily. But on August 19, 1981, the sky delivered a message in less than 60 seconds. And everyone heard it.